April 29, 1945. Sunday afternoon. American soldiers from the 45th Infantry Division move toward the gates of Dachau Concentration Camp. They think they've seen everything war can show them. They're wrong. The first thing they notice isn't the camp, it's the train. 39 boxcars sit quietly on a sidetrack. The doors are sealed. When soldiers force them open, they freeze. Inside, bodies. Over 2,000 of them, stacked like wood. Skin stretched over bone. Some dead for weeks, some for days, some still warm. These were prisoners taken from Buchenwald concentration camp, locked inside without food or water, left to suffocate, starve, and die. The smell hits before the sight fully sinks in. A wave so powerful that hardened soldiers, men who fought across Europe, start vomiting. Lieutenant Colonel Felix Sparks later writes that each car held dozens, sometimes over 100 bodies, and this is before they even enter the camp. When they entered, behind the barbed wire, there are 30,000 survivors. But alive doesn't feel like the right word. They are skeletal, starving, sick. Many can't even stand. Typhus spreads through the barracks. Bodies lie uncollected because there are too many to burn. This place was never meant to hold this many people. Built in 1933, Dachau Concentration Camp was one of the first camps created under Adolf Hitler. At first, it held political prisoners, but over time, it became something much darker. A system. Over 200,000 people passed through here. At least 41,000 died, maybe more. Prisoners were used as slave labor, starved, beaten, experimented on. Doctors froze them in ice water, exposed them to extreme altitudes, infected them with disease. All of it recorded, studied, filed like science, as if these weren't human beings. By April 1945, Germany is collapsing. The SS know the end is near. On April 26th, the camp commander Martin Weiss flees. He leaves behind hundreds of guards to hold the camp. At the same time, thousands of prisoners are forced onto death marches. Anyone who can't keep up is shot. The roads are littered with bodies. Inside the camp, the remaining prisoners wait. They don't know if they'll be freed or executed. Then, on April 29th, they hear gunfire. American troops push forward. Gunfire breaks out with SS guards. Some try to fight. Others try to surrender. And this is where everything changes. Something snaps. At one guard tower, surrendering SS soldiers are shot. In a coal yard, others are lined up and machine-gunned. In one boxcar, wounded prisoners of war are finished off at close range. These are not battlefield kills. These are executions. At the same time, prisoners break free. They rush the guards. Men who had been beaten, starved, tortured for years now face their captors. And they don't hesitate. Some guards are beaten to death. Some are crushed by crowds. One notorious guard is found hiding in a barn, dressed as a peasant, and killed with bare hands. For hours, the violence continues. By the end, somewhere between 35 and 50 SS guards are dead. Days later, the US Army launches an investigation. The conclusion is clear. American soldiers killed surrendered prisoners. Under the rules of war, that's a crime. The report reaches General George S. Patton. He reviews it and decides no one will be charged. Compared to what was discovered inside Dachau, he considers the killings minor. Case closed. Even today, historians argue over what happened at Dachau concentration camp. Was it justice or was it murder? The soldiers had just seen thousands of corpses. They had walked through a place built on systematic suffering. And in that moment, discipline broke. The prisoners, on the other hand, had lived through years of brutality. When they finally had power, they used it. Can you call that revenge wrong? Or was it the only justice they were ever going to get? Never forget what was found that day. Over 2,300 bodies in train cars. 30,000 people barely alive inside the camp. What happened next is uncomfortable to talk about. But maybe that's the point, because sometimes history doesn't give you clean answers, only questions that refuse to go away.